For thousands of years, snakes have been considered important in the lives of many communities in Asia. Not only are they used as food, snakes are also considered an important Oriental medicine. Due to high demand, snakes are raised in many areas in Asia, typically in China, Indonesia and Vietnam. Today, let's explore with us how Vietnamese farmers earn billions of dong from raising snakes. Vietnamese farmers earn billions of dong from snake farming. Vinh Son Commune, Vinh Tuong District, Vinh Phuc Province is known as the snake farming capital of Vietnam, with an annual output of about 250 tons of commercial snake meat and about 3 to 4 million breeding eggs. Snake farming here has a history of more than 100 years, with the majority of people in the commune participating. Most of the snake products are exported to China, bringing in revenue of about 400 billion VND. According to statistics, there are currently more than 800 families raising snakes in Vinh Son Commune. The main products are commercial snakes and breeding snakes. Snake farming brings high economic benefits to local people. So do you know what the farmer's secret to raising snakes is? One of the secrets to making a profit for snake farming families here is raising snakes all year round, even in winter. Because snakes usually have the habit of hibernating, snake farms have applied heating lamps, creating a warm environment for snakes to grow and develop normally. Snake farms also need to be quiet, away from noisy areas. The farms need to be built with solid bricks, with nets and safety locks to prevent snakes from escaping, ensuring the safety of the farmers. Furthermore, the breeding area must be dry, cool and maintain a stable temperature of 30 to 32 degrees Celsius. Cobras are often fed poultry meat such as chicken and duck that has been cleaned, with a feeding frequency of about 4 days. It is necessary to feed in moderation to ensure that there is no excess food, which can easily pollute the breeding area. In addition, farmers need to provide clean water regularly for snakes, especially during the periods when they are shedding their skin. In addition to venomous snakes, farmers also raise many other common snakes such as rattlesnakes or krites for meat. The process of caring for these snakes is simpler and less dangerous than raising cobras. Farmers say that snakes are usually harvested after 2 years of raising, bringing in greater profits than regular livestock farms. Commercial snakes weighing 1.6 kilograms or more are purchased by traders at a price of about 600,000 to 700,000 VND kg, equivalent to about 27 to 28 USD kg. Some farmers have earned significant profits from snake farming. Snake farmers shared that each year they sell nearly 6 tons of snake meat and thousands of snake breeds to the market, earning a profit of nearly $80,000 after deducting costs. Many farmers also take advantage of producing snake eggs and snake breeds to earn extra income. The farm is designed with a separate incubation area. Selected high-quality eggs are put into artificial incubation. The temperature and humidity in the incubation room help increase the hatching rate. Usually every 28 eggs will produce 20 baby snakes for sale. These have created favorable conditions for local farmers to increase their income. In addition, many traders also buy snakes to process snake wine, snake glue and venom used in medicine. Their skin is produced into handicrafts such as leather wallets or belts, all of which have high commercial value. Nowadays, many snake farms are open for tourists to visit and explore many rare snake species. Tourists can also enjoy delicious and unique dishes made from snakes. These experiential activities not only help promote the local snake farming industry, but also improve the lives of the people. People in many Asian countries find snake meat both delicious and nutritious. Dishes made from snakes are considered remedies to prevent joint pain, treat rheumatism and increase vitality for men. In fact, snake meat contains quite high nutritional content and brings many good effects to health. However, not everyone is suitable to use snake meat. People with certain diseases such as high blood pressure, kidney failure and liver disease should not use snake products. The snake farm in Vinh Phuc is not only the largest cobra farm in the north but also the first cobra breeding center in Vietnam that meets the standards of raising in wild environmental conditions. The farm also contributes to the conservation of rare snake genetic resources in the wild. Many endangered snake species are preserved and successfully bred at snake farms in Vinh Phuc. Thanks to that, it contributes to preserving biodiversity and protecting the environment. However, this special breeding model also faces many difficulties and challenges. Because cobras are extremely venomous, raising, caring for and harvesting them requires highly skilled people along with adequate equipment to prevent snake bites. We have discovered how Vietnamese farmers earn billions of dong from snake farming. How do you feel? Leave your comments below to let us know. Surely you have seen beautiful peacocks in zoos or on TV, because this species is a rare bird that is being preserved in many places around the world. But in China, peacocks have become an important industry in many rural areas and bring great economic potential to local farmers. Peacock farms are built in many mountainous and rural areas in China. Today, we invite you to explore the most unique peacock farms in the world. Every part of the peacock has commercial value, from its meat to its beautiful feathers. The largest peacock farming areas are in Jiangxi, Hunan, Guangdong and Guangxi with thousands of farms of various sizes. The peacocks raised are the Indian peafowl and the green peafowl because of their adaptability and economic value. The longer a peacock is raised, the more valuable it becomes. A 5 or 6 month-old peacock can bring in a profit of 300 to 400 yuan, and one raised for 5 years or more can sell for more than 10,000 yuan, equivalent to more than $1,300 US. Chinese farmers say that raising peacocks is low cost, highly efficient, saves time and effort, and does not take up much arable land. It is also easier to clean and less polluted than a regular poultry farm. The first step to starting a peacock farm is for farmers to purchase eggs or baby peacocks from reputable breeders. Large-scale farms may also import peacocks from abroad to diversify their gene pool and breeds. Being wild, peacocks need to be kept in spacious cages, similar to their natural environment. The cage needs to be designed to be at least 100 square meters for 10 adult peacocks, surrounded by wire mesh fences to prevent them from escaping and protect them from predators. Around the peacock breeding area, tall trees can be planted to provide shade and perches for them, because peacocks love to perch high up. Peacocks are relatively easy to raise because their diet is similar to that of other poultry. Chinese farmers feed peacocks grains such as corn, wheat, and rice bran, supplemented with green vegetables and insects to increase protein and calcium for optimal growth. Each cage can be designed with a clean water tank to provide daily water, sometimes supplemented with probiotics to improve digestion. Like many other poultry, peacocks raised in China often suffer from diseases such as parasites or fowl cholera. Therefore, the breeding process also requires the use of vaccines and regular deworming to keep peacocks healthy. The cages are also cleaned regularly to ensure a clean environment, avoid pollution, thereby helping to minimize diseases. In recent years, the Chinese government has also encouraged and supported farmers to develop their own economy in accordance with local economic conditions and promote rural revitalization. With the policies of local governments, many farmers in Hunan and Jiangxi have escaped poverty and made huge profits from the peacock farming industry. Depending on the purpose of harvesting for meat or selling as pets, farmers harvest peacocks according to their age. Currently, the price of baby peacocks can be sold from $200 to $500, depending on age, breed, and rarity. In some regions, peacock meat is considered a delicacy. Farms specialize in raising peacocks for meat consumption, supplying high-end restaurants and exotic food enthusiasts. Peacock meat can sell for $150 to $300 per kilogram. In addition to being harvested for meat, peacock feathers are highly prized for decoration, fashion, religious ceremonies, and traditional crafts. High-quality feathers sell for $5 to $20, so wholesale sales of decorative items can bring in thousands of dollars a year. Many farms today have expanded into peacock sanctuaries, attracting tourists to visit and experience. They also generate additional income from selling souvenirs, food, and experiences such as feeding the peacocks. One emerging activity is the profitable breeding of peacocks for the international market, zoos, and private collectors. Licensed breeders can sell eggs and chicks to buyers around the world for $50 to $100 per egg. It is not difficult to see peacock eggs and feathers sold on e-commerce platforms in China. It brings convenience to buyers and benefits to sellers, and promotes the peacock farming industry throughout China. Perhaps in the future, peacock farming will be an opportunity to enrich more farmers.
Surely we all know that pests and diseases are the direct cause of agricultural decline. That has also been a fear for soybean farmers in China for thousands of years. The finger-sized green worms were once the #1 enemy of soybean farmers, but now they are one of the farmers' sources of economic income. So, how has this pest made farmers rich? Please explore with us now. Just a few years ago, soybean farmers in Sichuan, Shandong, and Jiangsu provinces were still afraid of pests and diseases severely affecting bean harvest yields. They even lost all of their harvest because of this harmful bean worm. At that time, no one could have thought that this harmful pest could bring in economic resources worth millions of yuan, until they discovered that bean worms could be eaten. Perhaps up to now, there are still many soybean farmers who still cannot believe that they have made a lot of money from these green worms. They are sold for more than 100 yuan per pound. Their price increases every year, and at times, the cost reaches 180 yuan per pound. Not only that, many farmers in some areas have even become rich by raising beanworms. Soybean farmers in Shandong and Jiangsu consider beanworms to have high economic value and are a regional specialty. They are used to prepare delicious dishes such as roasted beanworms, fried beanworms. In recent years, when human demand for food from green insects has increased, the nutritional value of beanworms has also been discovered very well. Rich in protein, essential amino acids, and essential fatty acids. Because the high nutritional value makes the demand for beanworms increase rapidly, many farmers have realized that at times, beanworms bring higher profits than soybeans. So they have turned to growing beans to worm farming. From there, a worm farming industry was formed in some rural areas of China. To raise beanworms successfully and with high productivity, farmers need to choose areas with suitable locations for them to grow, with adequate lighting, good ventilation, and favorable drainage conditions. At the same time, make sure there are no sources of pollution around. Choose bean insect varieties that are suitable for the local environment, grow quickly and lay many eggs, and have strong disease resistance. If environmental conditions are suitable for beanworms, it will help them grow extremely quickly and bring great profits to farmers. Raising beanworms in the provinces is even more profitable than raising livestock such as cows and pigs, because it does not require raising costs and is more expensive. The main food of beanworms is bean leaves, bean pods, and other legumes. Therefore, Chinese farmers can save a large part of animal feed costs. During the breeding process, it is necessary to ensure that bean caterpillars are provided with fresh, nutritious food and avoid mold and spoilage. At the same time, adjust the type and quantity of food appropriately according to their growth and reproductive stages. In addition, it is also necessary to monitor the health status of beanworms to prevent harmful bacteria. If a successful harvest season will help farmers reap a lot of profits. According to reports from beanworm farmers, a normal acre of bean plants can usually harvest 200 kilograms of fresh beanworms and earn a total income of 8,000 yuan, about $1,200. This level of income is sometimes even higher than growing and harvesting soybeans. In fact, in Liangyungang, Jiangsu, eating beanworms has become the most unique local culinary culture. Many newcomers to Jiangsu felt resistant to beanworms when they first saw them. However, after trying them a few times, many people will fall in love with this seemingly strange and fear-inducing delicacy. Today, there are many beanworm farming facilities in many places. Each year, they can produce tens of thousands of kilograms of beanworms, becoming high-quality raw materials for many high-end hotels and restaurants. A plate of pre-cooked beanworms can sell for 2,000 yuan during peak season. Thanks to its high nutritional value, beanworms are also known as bean ginseng. In addition to fresh beanworms, on the market in China, there are also canned beanworms or prepared beanworms. Consumers can easily buy beanworm products to prepare daily dishes. We have just watched how Chinese farmers make millions of yuan from this green worm. Please leave your comments below to let us know.
Quizás muchos de ustedes pensarán que se tratan de gusanos feos que dan miedo a la gente, pero pueden generar millones de dólares en ingresos para el pueblo chino. Entonces, ¿qué efectos tienen estos gusanos y por qué los cultivan los chinos? Únete a nosotros hoy para descubrir cómo criar millones de gusanos de seda para producción de seda en China, la granja que cría millones de gusanos de seda para su producción. Hace miles de años, China era el líder mundial en la producción de papel y seda. Según los registros arqueológicos, los antepasados chinos comenzaron a crear gusanos de seda y a fabricarla hace más de 5.000 años. Al día de hoy, sigue siendo una de las industrias tradicionales más antiguas de este país. Las granjas de gusanos de seda se distribuyen en muchas provincias y ciudades en China. Normalmente Zhejiang, Sichuan, Chongqing, inicialmente una industria tradicional en pequeña escala, pero gradualmente se ha convertido en una industria grande y muy importante. La industria milenaria apunta a una nueva ruta de la seda de 100.000 millones de dólares, abriendo una vez más un nuevo camino para el crecimiento. Las fresas, las hojas y las ramas de morera son elementos indispensables en este camino de desarrollo industrial que se expande gradualmente. Los gusanos de seda solo comen hojas de morera para producir seda de la mejor calidad, porque en las zonas rurales donde se cultivan gusanos de seda, a menudo vemos interminables campos de moreras. Para crear gusanos de seda, los agricultores abandonaron los cultivos agrícolas solo para cultivar moreras como alimento para los gusanos de seda. Desde entonces, en muchas provincias se han formado zonas concentradas de cultivo de gusanos de seda y de su producción. La provincia de Chongqing, situada en el suroeste de China, es la principal región productora de morera. La sericultura no es solo una industria tradicional con una larga historia, sino también una nueva industria que promueve el desarrollo integrado de las industrias en la nueva era. Datos relacionados muestran que la escala actual de producción de moreras en Chongqing es de aproximadamente 800.000 acres, de las cuales alrededor de 20.000 se han convertido en moreras frutales, convirtiéndose en huertos de moreras productivos y de alta calidad, alta productividad, alto rendimiento, buenos beneficios. También se formaron fábricas de gusanos de seda a gran escala, donde se alquilaban tierras agrícolas a los agricultores para cultivar moreras y los contrataban para trabajar en fábricas. Gracias a la industria de la seda, el ingreso per cápita en las zonas rurales ha aumentado significativamente, lo que ha ayudado a un gran número de agricultores a salir de la pobreza y a enriquecerse con éxito. La industria de la seda, que produce seda, proporciona empleo a millones de trabajadores, también garantiza la seguridad social en muchas zonas rurales y ayuda a los agricultores a estabilizar sus vidas. Crear gusanos de seda es un trabajo cuidadoso, cada paso debe tomarse en serio. A los gusanos les gusta la sequedad, así que espolvoreé polvo de cal seco con regularidad sobre el parche de bambú para absorber la humedad. Prevenir y tratar enfermedades en los gusanos de seda es muy importante. Se debe alimentarlos con regularidad y utilizar medicamentos. En particular, no se debe subestimar las enfermedades de los gusanos de seda. De lo contrario, afectarán la productividad de los capullos de los gusanos de seda y si no se previene con cuidado, miles de ellos pueden desaparecer. Los gusanos de seda también crecen bien en épocas frías, entre 20 y 30 grados Celsius. La calidad de la fibra de seda también depende del entorno de vida de estos gusanos, por lo que si se crían por debajo de los 20 grados o por encima de los 30, estos insectos producen fibras de seda de peor calidad. Por lo tanto, la época adecuada para criarlos será la primavera y el otoño. Estas son las dos estaciones con el aire más fresco del año. Cada gusano de seda mudará 4 veces y el tiempo para liberar la seda suele ser de 25 a 30 días desde el inicio del cultivo. El alimento principal son las hojas de morera. Debes elegir el tipo de hoja adecuado para cada tipo de gusano de seda. Debes elegir hojas de morera que tengan mucha savia y que sean de color verde oscuro. Para asegurar el crecimiento de los gusanos de seda y la producción de hilo, seguramente andará muy bien. El cultivo de morera, la cría de gusanos de seda, el bobinado de seda, el tejido, los capullos y la seda son industrias tradicionales nacionales de China, importantes industrias de medio de vida y competitivas a nivel internacional. Hoy en día, la región occidental representada por Guangxi se está expandiendo gradualmente desde la sericultura y el bobinado de seda hasta su tejido. El tejido de seda, la fabricación de ropa, el desarrollo integral y otros eslabones. La cadena industrial continúa prolongándose. La industria manufacturera de la seda y la confección han hecho que China se expanda y desarrolle cada vez más su economía, liderando el mundo en la producción de bienes de consumo de calidad y bajo costo. El tejido de la seda ya no es una industria tradicional, sino que se ha adentrado cada vez más en el competitivo y volátil mercado mundial. Este es el final de nuestro video. Dale me gusta y suscríbete para apoyarnos. Por favor, deja tus comentarios para que podamos compartir nuestras opiniones. Ahora adiós y nos veremos en los próximos videos.
Do you think rice can be grown on water? Many people will say that this is impossible, but this was probably the correct assessment from the past decade when traditional farming activities still dominated. In recent years, with the creativity of farmers and the development of technology, floating rice fields have been created on hundreds of hectares of fish ponds. Yes, it is the creativity of Chinese farmers when uniquely combining these two forms of farming and aquaculture. Now, let's explore with us how Chinese farmers cultivate hundreds of hectares of rice on fish ponds. Rice fish farming has long been a farming method in many parts of Asia, but it is mainly fish that are released into rice fields. But it is also thanks to this form that Chinese farmers have created a farming technique that allows rice to thrive in flooded conditions. Unlike traditional rice paddies, farmers have adapted it to allow rice to grow on the surface or in specially designed floating beds within fish ponds. From a distance, we can see the rice plants growing vigorously and lushly in the plastic trays on the pond surface. The rice plants grow as vigorously as those grown on traditional soil. So, how is rice cultivation carried out on fish ponds? Growing rice in a pond is not an easy task. The prepared nutrient soil needs to be sterilized at high temperature and then placed in a plastic tray with many small holes at the bottom. The rice seedlings are planted first and then transplanted into a floating board with holes. Finally, the board is placed in order on the surface of the fish pond. Compared with traditional farming, floating rice on the water surface does not have direct contact with the soil, completely cultivating in a green and ecological way. Once planted, farmers need to closely control the growth rate and water in the fish pond so that the rice plants do not die, and the health of the fish is also ensured. Fish raised in ponds are also of good quality as those raised in large reservoirs. Because in addition to the daily industrial feed provided, fish also eat pests from rice such as caterpillars or leafhoppers. These pests can fall from the rice stalks and become food for fish. The rice plants will also absorb fish waste such as ammonia, nitrogen, and phosphorus in the water as nutrients to clean the water quality, creating a cleaner environment. Rice grown in this model still has the same growth time as when cultivated in the field. Depending on the rice variety, it can be harvested after 3 to 4 months. Each year, 2 to 3 rice crops can be grown in the pond, improving productivity and ensuring food. Fish in the pond can be harvested 1 to 2 times a year, depending on the species of fish. Rice is harvested by farmers pulling rice trays up to the shore and harvesting them manually. They use specialized tools to cut the rice stalks and stack them on top of each other to prepare them for further processing. Rice grown in fish ponds has an annual yield of about 350 kilograms per acre and is also more expensive than regular rice. Some areas of rice farming on fish ponds have implemented mechanized rice harvesting, helping to reduce labor and increase productivity. However, it is still limited in some areas. Rice farming on fish ponds is a new form in China and has only been widespread in recent years. It offers many advantages over other farming practices. What are the advantages of growing rice floating on fish ponds compared to traditional rice growing? Using floating panels on the water surface to grow rice has a very significant effect. It creates symbiosis between fish and rice, so farmers can increase profits from this model. Each rice plant is grown on the water surface without direct contact with soil and is cared for organically throughout the process. It is also less susceptible to pests, so there is no need to spray pesticides or worry about water pollution. In addition, the rice also grows many long roots under the floating beds, which absorb nutrients from the water and clean the water. This unique integrated method not only improves the quality of rice, but also increases income from fisheries. This new integrated rice fish farming model can expand the rice growing area while maintaining the scale of pond fish farming. This is a new way to promote grain production, improve grain self-sufficiency, and ensure food security, and increase farmers' income. There are also many challenges. The initial planting cost is quite high. Farmers said that 1 square meter of floating boards used for planting costs 40 to 50 yuan. Moreover, rice is not yet mechanized. It can only be planted manually, so the labor cost is not low. However, floating boards can be recycled for subsequent planting, so the cost of the next rice crop will be reduced. Unlike traditional rice cultivation in rice fields, pond rice cultivation requires consideration of the situation of rice being submerged in water during growth. Water control, fertilizer, and density need to be adjusted according to actual conditions. Therefore, it requires 4 times more labor than conventional farming. We have just discovered how Chinese farmers earn millions of yuan by growing floating rice on fish ponds. How do you feel about this video? Leave your comments below to let us know. When it comes to Egypt, most of us will surely think of the pyramid symbol that has existed for thousands of years. But few people know that this country is also famous for the most unique pigeon towers in the world. These towers were built in all areas of Egypt for the purpose of raising pigeons. So now, let's explore with us the unique way of raising pigeons of Egyptian farmers. These birds were prized for their meat, which was once considered a major source of protein for the Egyptian people. As a result, pigeon farming is still considered one of the most important industries in Egypt today. They are kept mainly in unique towers that you won't find anywhere else. The pigeon towers were carefully designed to house hundreds, sometimes thousands of pigeons. The towers were made of mud bricks, which helped to create a cool environment during Egypt's scorching summer days. Each tower has small niches, often meticulously crafted in rows, where pigeons can nest. These niches provide ideal conditions for pigeon breeding, ensuring a steady supply of birds, pigeons, and their byproducts. Depending on the region, farmers build different pigeon tower structures, but they all have the same function. Most are built in a honeycomb structure, allowing birds to easily fly inside. The towers are usually cylindrical or conical in shape, ensuring stability and ease of construction. Openings at the top of the tower allow pigeons to enter and exit freely, and the height of the pigeon towers also minimizes the risk of being attacked by predators such as snakes or wild birds. Farmers use different materials such as palm leaves and wooden sticks to create landing spaces for pigeons, making them comfortable to perch. This design also functions to make it easier for farmers to collect manure from the base of the tower, which can then be distributed to the fields as fertilizer. Millions of pigeons live in thousands of pigeon towers built across Egypt. Although the towers are more complex to build than closed pigeon farms, Egyptian farmers still commonly apply this form of farming because it has many unique advantages. Pigeons living in towers have been studied to have better welfare because they are free to fly and forage. One of the main reasons why pigeon towers flourished in Egypt was the use of pigeon droppings as fertilizer. Rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, pigeon droppings were considered superior to other fertilizers. Egyptian farmers used the droppings to increase soil fertility in the Nile Delta, allowing them to grow more abundant crops such as wheat, barley, and vegetables. The use of pigeon droppings became an essential aspect of Egyptian agriculture, especially after the annual flooding of the Nile. When the waters receded, farmers would apply pigeon droppings to their fields, ensuring that the soil remained rich for the next growing season. Pigeon farming and pigeon tower construction brought many economic and social benefits to the Egyptian people. First, pigeons are a relatively low-maintenance livestock option. They have few resources for food and shelter, but produce valuable products. This makes pigeon farming an attractive business for small-scale farmers, because it provides a steady source of income with little initial investment. Pigeon meat is highly nutritious and is commonly consumed by Egyptians of all social classes. Pigeon meat is often stewed, roasted, or dried for preservation. Pigeons are also traded in local markets, creating an economic source of income around these pigeon farms. In rural Egypt, pigeon farming has become a community activity, with families and villages working together to build towers and manage pigeons. Not only does it help the local economy, it also helps stabilize the lives of farmers. The construction of pigeon towers in ancient Egypt was a unique and diverse activity, closely linked to the agricultural, economic, and religious life of the country. These towers not only provided a reliable source of food and fertilizer, but also reflected the cultural and spiritual values of the Egyptian people. For farmers in Southeast Asia, toads are a nutritious and expensive delicacy. However, in Australia, they are considered an invasive species that must be eradicated. So, why don't Australians turn invasive toads into a valuable food item to make it easier to control them? Let's find out in this video. Cane toads were introduced to Australia in 1935 from Hawaii to control sugarcane pests, but due to favorable climate, the toad population grew rapidly. Over the past decade, cane toads have become one of the most destructive invasive species in Australia. Since their introduction, cane toads have spread throughout northern Australia, including Queensland, the Northern Territory, and parts of Western Australia and New South Wales. They continue to expand their range and spread at an estimated rate of 40 to 60 kilometers per year. To control this pest, Australian authorities have issued many measures to control them. One of the measures to control cane toads is to use traps. This is the most common method used by both professionals and community groups to kidnap sugarcane. Because traps can catch large numbers of cane toads in the wild, trapping toads is usually done at night because this is the time they are mainly active. Some hunters also use guns to hunt toads. Sounds unbelievable, right? This is completely true in Australia, but only a few hunters use this method because it is quite expensive, so it is not very popular. Although killing toads with guns is not easy, Professional hunters can easily take down toads with just one shot. Trapping and cane toad capture are direct methods of control, often involving the large Australian farming community. Volunteers go out at night with lights and capture cane toads by hand. Once collected, the toads are humanely disposed of in accordance with animal welfare standards. So, what effects do cane toads have on agriculture and the livestock industry in Australia? Although cane toads were originally introduced to control agricultural pests, they have also become a pest. Cane toads do not significantly reduce insect populations, but instead cause problems for livestock, especially if animals come into contact with the toads or their toxins. In particular, livestock and poultry are also negatively affected by toad populations. Not only that, toads also affect feed storage areas, causing large amounts of livestock or poultry feed to spoil, causing a direct impact on the farm owner's economy. Cane toads eat a variety of insects and small animals, causing a decline in the food source for native species and disrupting local ecosystems. Cane toads secrete a potent toxin from their parotid glands that can be fatal to animals that attempt to eat them. Many native Australian predators such as snakes, lizards, birds, and even crocodiles have died after eating cane toads, leading to a decline in their populations. While cane toads are not a direct threat to human health, their toxins can harm pets and children who come into contact with them. Due to the above threats, cane toads are believed to have impacted indigenous communities, especially those who rely on hunting native wildlife for food and cultural practices. Measures to reduce cane toads have been applied by Australian farmers for nearly a decade, but have not really eliminated this species. Because cane toads are extremely difficult to eradicate due to their high reproductive rates, on average female toads can lay up to 30,000 eggs at a time, and in particular, they have the ability to adapt to many different environments. Therefore, the problem of controlling cane toads has become increasingly complicated and difficult. So, why don't Australians eat toads to reduce invasion? The main reason is that cane toads have toxins similar to pufferfish. This amphibian secretes a very strong toxin called bufotoxin, which is secreted from the salivary glands behind the eyes. This toxin can cause serious illness or death in most animals, including humans, if ingested. This poison affects the heart and can lead to cardiac arrest, making the consumption of cane toads extremely dangerous. Because of their toxicity, Australians do not dare to eat them. But, in contrast to Australians, Toads are a favorable dish of Vietnamese people and some Southeast Asian regions. Vietnamese farmers are very skillful in processing toads. They know how to remove the toxins and process them into delicious dishes. Vietnamese people have eaten toad meat for decades. This is a quite expensive dish and is considered a specialty in many regions. Even the number of toads in the wild has decreased sharply because they are used as food. According to research, toad meat contains higher amounts of protein and zinc than other types of meat such as beef and pork. So, it is used to improve the health of people and children with rickets, malnutrition, and slow growth. Specifically, in 100 grams of toad meat, there are 55.4 grams of protein and 65 milligrams of zinc. However, to prepare toads into a dish, the processors need to have experience in preparing them because they are no different from the Japanese pufferfish dish. The toad's internal organs and skin are carefully removed to avoid harm to health. If Australians knew how to process toad meat, surely they would not have become an invasive species, right? Our video today is over. How do you feel about the video? Please leave a like button, subscribe, and comment to support our channel. And now, goodbye and see you all again.